Coming up on KOTA Territory News at 5:30, Rapid City Parks and Rec is prepping its plans for the winter. We'll show you how. Plus, a building in Rapid City is the first to install a safety device for firefighters to use in an emergency. And we have some good news for those who rely on SNAP benefits. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. The South Dakota Department of Social Services says SNAP benefits recipients in the state will get their full payments for November with a projected payment date of Monday. DSS said they got confirmation today from Federal Food and Nutrition Services that full benefits will be issued. About 37,000 South Dakota households receive SNAP food benefits, with the average household receiving about $390. The benefits had been in doubt during the federal government shutdown, but the Department of Agriculture says it's complying with a federal court order to provide full benefits. That order came from a federal judge on Thursday, with the Trump administration appealing that ruling. Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is tracking changes for your weekend. So, David, what is the latest out there on First Alert Doppler radar?
Yeah, we've been talking about this storm system that's going to disrupt our weekend, Jack. It's going to bring cooler air, snow, wind, and it is right here, moving from southern portions of Alberta into northern portions of Montana, and that'll be moving our way as we go over the next 24 hours. We have an initial couple of bands of showers passing through KOTA territory. We'll notice more of that as we go into the evening hours, even some snow showers into parts of the Black Hills, but it'll be a little more intense going into tomorrow for the northern hills. Let's talk more about temperatures right now. 30s and 40s across the map. Winter weather advisories in place for the northern Black Hills, Sundance, Lee, Deadwood. That's going to be the main focus for that winter weather advisory from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to be dealing with a lot of wind across western South Dakota, with wind advisories and high wind warnings in place from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'll have more detail about this entire forecast coming up later on.
Thank you, David. A former office manager of the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Tribal Employment Rights Office pleads guilty today to embezzling more than $4.7 million from the tribe. 56-year-old Buffy Redfish of Rushville, Nebraska, pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 3 counts of wire fraud, and 3 counts of money laundering. In the factual basis statement of the case, Redfish says that between 2017 and 2024, she and former Tarot compliance officer and acting director Patrick Ross deposited 166 fee checks from contractors into a bank account Ross had opened. Redfish says she spent the money on vehicles, clothing, furniture, travel, and homes. She faces up to 20 years in prison on each of the 7 counts she pleaded guilty to and agreed to pay $4.7 million in restitution or forfeit property she owns in Rushville, Nebraska. Ross pleaded not guilty in January to the same 30 charges Redfish was facing. Firefighters can't put out flames without lungs full of air, and Block 5 is making history by making sure there's enough air to go around. The new apartment complex and hotel in downtown Rapid City has become the first building in the Mount Rushmore state to be equipped with a firefighter air replenishment system, or FARS. The safety feature was installed by Western States Fire Protection and allows firefighters to refill their air tanks in the building during an emergency. Typically, firefighters have to carry extra air bottles up multiple flights of stairs and return to their trucks for replacements when their air runs out. But the new system allows the responders to refill their tanks on the 3rd, 6th, or 9th floors.
It's huge for us. Me as a division chief, it just lets me know that my firefighters are that much safer going into that structure. You know, if you have a fire on one of those upper floors, it really takes a lot, not only just to get to the fire, but to fight the fire and perform anything that they have to during that incident.
Povendra added he's hoping new construction coming to Rapid City will implement the replenishment system. Improving transportation safety in the community has always been a goal for Rapid City. The city is currently seeking public feedback on the draft of their comprehensive safety action plan. Back in 2023, the city was granted $160,000 to create the plan, which is part of the U.S. Department of Transportation's Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program. The funding allows the city to expand on current transportation objectives and goals of making the community safer. The overall goal of the plan is to have 0 roadway deaths. People have the chance to give input through a public meeting open house held online. The feedback will help the project team identify essential community interests and needs that could be considered in the plan's final version.
The report focuses on a number of different strategies and issues. So Some of the main issues we have are angle crashes, which happen at intersections and signal lights intersections. Younger and older drivers, we have a lot of issues with them. Nighttime driving, people have a hard time seeing at night.
Harrington said there are specific roads in town they're looking to address.
We're looking at a lot of our arterial street segments like 5th Street, Haynes Avenue, West Main Street, Sheridan Lake Road, some of those higher speed, higher volume roadways.
The online public meeting open house launched yesterday and runs until November 26th. People can access the open house at KOTATV.com. It is that time of year for the Rapid City Parks Division crews to cover the rosebush beds for Memorial Park and Halley Park. A greenhouse specialist calls this putting the rose bushes to bed. Hybrid tea roses are what cover Memorial and Halley Parks. If these roses are not covered, the South Dakota winters will kill them. The reason they use leaves is because they come from the parks, which makes them free, and it helps keep the ground insulated.
With South Dakota winters, you have a 40-degree day. The next day it might be 20 degrees, it might be 10 degrees. So it's going to help just kind of maintain a steady temperature for the roses, and it won't freeze and thaw like our normal winter days are.
They also apply wire on top of the leaves for those windy South Dakota days. Even though you can't see the rose bushes, you can still visit these parks to see the beautiful scenery they have to offer. One other cool evening here in KOTA territory. We'll let you know what the weekend has in store and your accurate first alert forecast coming up later. But first, the former president of the South Dakota Cattlemen's Association pushes back on President Trump's plans to import Argentinian beef. That story's next. The past president of the South Dakota Cattlemen's Association has pushed back on a recent social media post by President Trump, claiming that his tariffs have helped ranchers and calling for beef prices to be brought down. The president's post came following criticism he received for proposing that the U.S. buy more beef from Argentina to bring beef prices down. KOTA Territory Blake Trolley asked Eric Jennings about the post on Wednesday.
Okay, I want to go to the president's post as Truth Social. This was posted last month. He said, the cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. I just want to give you a chance to react to that post.
So the first reaction is it's just a kick in the teeth because it shows that the president has zero understanding of the cattle industry and how the markets work. You know, to say that placing tariffs on it is what caused the price of beef couldn't be farther from the truth. The cattle industry for the past 30 years has worked very hard to improve our product and build the demand for beef. And that's what we're seeing right now is creating the high prices. The demand is outpacing the supply, driving the price up. It has nothing to do with tariffs.
In an update today, President Trump appears to have changed course. The president announced that he's having the Department of Justice investigate meatpacking companies that he says are driving up beef prices through collusion, price fixing, and price manipulation. Trump says American ranchers are being blamed for what's being done by majority foreign-owned meat packers. Every Friday, KOTA Territory News highlights a local business here in South Dakota. This month, we're traveling down to the Pine Ridge Reservation to highlight local businesses there. For November, we're telling their stories. Juliana Alfred has more about a guy who brings communities together one kickflip at a time.
Ground Control started in 2020 and is mainly a skate park that makes it a point to showcase all forms of art.
We do hip-hop shows, we do karaoke, I want to do talent show. I haven't done one talent show here yet for some reason. That's how we started the whole thing.
The idea of opening Ground Control in Pine Ridge started when Mestheth noticed people skating at the outdoor skate park.
Started hosting skate events every Sunday, and that just turned into realizing that we need to eliminate the off-season. I just wanted to keep the skaters skateboarding.
He says that something that is important to him is unity and giving people a place to go for free.
I think one of the most important things that you can do is build a community in where you're from.
In addition to ground control being free, they also help with equipment.
We just give them the skateboard and let them, just learn.
Messeth also says that with skateboarding now in the Olympics, he wanted to inspire skateboarders.
There's that opportunity out there to, go for the gold too, if they really work hard at it, but it's a really tough sport.
He also stated that he hopes ground control has a positive impact on them.
These skaters here, after they leave this place, they lead a good life, but they have a good life.
In Pine Ridge, Juliana Alford, KOTA Territory News.
Chief Meteorologist David Stradling has the details on snow and strong winds to begin the weekend. All that and more in your accurate First Alert forecast next.
Now, the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist David Stradling.
We're tracking a clipper system passing from Canada now into the northern parts of the United States. You can see the center of it moving right across the border there into Montana. That's going to continue southeast. We're noticing a few showers currently moving through KOTA territory, some snow showers up into the higher terrain of the Black Hills. But as this moisture moves through, it should be tapering off within the next few hours, by midnight for sure. And then a second wave near the low pressure will be moving in, bringing some snow towards the northern Black Hills. So we do see some snow up into the higher terrain of the Bighorns, a few showers into Sheridan and areas to the east of that. And also looking into the Black Hills, we're noticing some of the light snow showers kind of in the higher terrain there south of Spearfish, near Lee Deadwood areas to the southwest. We do have a winter weather advisory in place for the northern Black Hills from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. And that's because we have upslope snow likely with northwesterly winds bringing accumulations to the region. So here's a look at that moisture sliding through this evening. By midnight, it's pretty much out of the area. However, our second wave will be moving in from the north, getting close to the Black Hills by the time we get to the morning hours Saturday. You'll notice with that northwest wind, it'll be a pretty defined line of upslope snow moving through the Black Hills throughout the day on Saturday. Maybe a few showers in the morning for the plains, but by the afternoon, we'll just be dealing with a lot of cloud cover. That snow will taper off by the time we get to Saturday evening and into Sunday morning. In terms of snowfall, we're still looking at the highest portions off towards southwestern Lawrence County into Lee Deadwood. About 2 to 6 inches of snowfall will be possible for the higher terrain there. A dusting to 2 inches for Sundance is still in the forecast. We did drop Spearfish down to about less than an inch, along with Sturgis, Hill City, Newcastle, into Upton and Hewlett. A dusting for some other spots, but we're not really expecting anything much in Rapid City, if anything. Now we do have some strong winds to talk about as well, with that snow moving through, mainly impacting the northern Black Hills. It'll be quite windy for all of KOTA territory, but especially western South Dakota, where wind advisories and high wind warnings are in place from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now in the high wind warnings, gusts to 40 miles or 60 miles per hour are likely. In the wind advisories, which includes Rapid City, Spearfish, and much of the rest of the South Dakota plains, that's gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So looking at the weekend, we are going to be having temperatures in the 40s Saturday, near 40 on Sunday. That wind is going to be the main threat for Rapid City, but some snow could cause for some slippery roads in the northern Black Hills. So kind of keep in mind that as you may have any travel plans up that way. Temperatures will be in the 20s and 30s overnight tonight. Increasing wind will make it feel like the teens in some spots, 20s for many others. Wind chills will be in the 20s to low 30s throughout the day tomorrow, with all of the wind in place, and those high temperatures only getting up into the 30s and 40s. Northern hills, upslope snow throughout the day, but everyone else should be mostly dry. We'll stay chilly into Sunday with highs in the 40s for many. But as you look into Monday, we're warming up nicely. 50s and 60s for much of northeast Wyoming, flirting with 70 towards Sheridan. 50s and 60s for the Black Hills on Monday after a cool weekend. The upslope snow for Spearfish and Deadwood. Deadwood with the likelihood of the higher accumulations along with the lead down towards O'Neill Pass, kind of that area as the main bullseye for that snow. Staying chilly on the South Dakota plains. Windy tomorrow. 30s on tap for Sunday, but we'll warm up into the 50s and 60s by Monday. And by the end of next week, we're looking pretty warm. Friday could be 73. Jack, Friday morning, 44 is what the low temperature is for Bagel in the street, so I think we'll be A-okay for that.
But for the snow, some people excited about the snow, others not so much.
Yeah, I know people that aren't excited. I'm a snow lover. I know a few other people that love the snow. So it'll be nice to get their first taste up in the northern Black Hills. Some snow up for Terry Peak to get things going there too. But we need a lot more for that ski season to get going.
All right, thank you very much, David. Coming up, we'll have a preview of tonight's big high school football semifinal playoff game. Plus, high school volleyball teams punch their ticket to the Sodak 16. Vic Quick joins us next with KOTA Sports.
And now, KOTA Territory Sports, sponsored by your local Ford stores.
Happy Friday, everybody. The Sturgis football team picked up a big playoff win last week, knocking off Watertown 28-21. Tonight, the Scoopers are in Yankton to take on the top-seeded Bucks in the semifinals. This is a rematch of a game from about a month ago that Sturgis won 27-21. Kickoff is in just a few minutes at Crane Youngworth Field. Elsewhere in the high school football semifinals tonight, second-seeded St. Thomas More hosts third-seeded Clark Willow Lake in the 11B ranks. Now, the Cavaliers knocked off Mount Vernon Plankington 31-8 last week and enter the matchup with a perfect 10-0 record. In 9A, Old Friends Wall and Phillip are ready to square off for a trip to the Dome tonight. The Eagles head into the showdown with a 10-0 record, while the Scotties are 8-1. Phillip's only loss came to Wall back in the season opener. High school volleyball team squared off for a trip to the Sodak 16 last night. Hot Springs taking on St. Thomas More first set. Hot Springs' Kiana Lewis with a nice play at the net as she sends this ball down for the point. It's 17-16 Cavs. Great dig by the Bison's Ella Hasfitz. Then Ariana Rooks evens things up as she connects for the kill. Set point now for STM. Lauren Popple puts it away as she fires one off that is too hot to handle. The Cavs won the first set 25-20. Leighton Shearer led the way with 16 kills, and St. Thomas More advances with a 3-0 victory. The Cavs will play Miller for a trip to state next Tuesday in Murdo. The Hill City and Rapid City Christian volleyball teams also squared off for a trip to the Sodak 16 last night. These teams split the first 2 sets. In the third set, the Rangers get things going as Grace Peckish powers this ball through the block for the points. 20-11 Christian. Carly Hobbick takes a bite out of the lead as she smacks this ball down, headed right into your living room for the big kill. The Comets fire back as they get the ball to Brecklin Hermanson, and with authority, she powers one down for the kill. Rapid City Christian won the third set 25-17, and the Comets move on with a 3-1 victory. They will play Groton for a trip to state next Tuesday in Fort Pierre. In Class B, Sodak 16 volleyball matches also coming up next Tuesday. We're going to have Bennett County taking on Lemon. That match is going to be played at the Phillip High School. That's next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Also in Class B, Sodak 16 action on Tuesday. Harding County will play at Walsey Wessington. Kadoka matches up with Gayville Vollen. And all the winners of those Sodak 16 matches advance to the state tournament. AA Sodak 16 games next Thursday. Tonight, all about the high school football. Should be fun as teams hit the field for semifinal showdowns. It's also the championship games in the All Nations bracket. We'll have all your scores and highlights coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on the Friday Night Hike. And of course, tomorrow, big day for college football. Black Hills State and South Dakota Vines both in action. They're going to be on the road tomorrow, and a full slate of big games on the national level. You can see them right here on ABC as well as over on Fox. South Dakota State and USD also play tomorrow. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Bagel in the Street is back this year. You can join us on Friday, November 14th next week from 6:30 to 9 a.m. This year, we're moving to the parking lot of Trinity Lutheran Church next to Hardee's in downtown Rapid City. Here's the map. Stay in the right lane on St. Joseph Street. Turn right onto 4th Street into the parking lot of Trinity Lutheran Church. For your donation, you'll get a huge white chocolate chip bagel baked fresh from Black Hills Bagels and a freshly brewed gourmet coffee from Dark Canyon Coffee or a Pepsi product. All proceeds will help feed those who are struggling in our community, so please join us for the KOTA Territory Care and Share Food Drive Bagel in the Street on November 14th. And thankfully, that's on the other side of our little cold snap.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at the forecast a week from now, it looks to be pretty mild for us, but that's not going to be the case this weekend. This little clipper system moving into Montana from Alberta is going to be bringing a few showers this evening, and then we're really going to be noticing some of that moisture moving in for tomorrow. Snow in the northern Black Hills. Accumulations could range from a dusting up to about 4 to 6 inches near Lead Deadwood area, and then some strong winds on the South Dakota plains tomorrow. Will gust up to 60 miles per hour in spots.
All right, we'll get through it though.
Yeah.
All right. See you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.